Timothy has been with me for what, a couple months now. I think you started, Tim. What's give us a little background on yourself and how you got into insurance.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, David, and thank you everyone for attending it. Well, yes, it's actually 4 to 5 weeks. Pretty recent, right? Yeah. So I've been in the insurance industry for almost 4 years. But what I found out is I don't have a system. Like I don't have a system. I don't have a lot of trainings. I'm in multi-level marketing side of the insurance, so there's a lot of recruiting and everything. And what I found out is I got burned out quick. And now that I came into a video of David Duford with Cody Askins, I believe. And that's the first time that I heard about final expense.
Really?
And after that, I followed David, and yeah, it's been a great month so far.
Yeah, how much business have you written so far since you started with me?
All right, yeah. So I wrote it down. So I think I've been for like 4.5 weeks, and it's around 28,000 AP.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
So 28, yes.
So
yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, that for a first month, that's fantastic. And we'll kind of break this down because I know a lot of you here are brand new to the business, so we want to make sure that we clarify some things for you. So I want to step back a couple of steps, because the goal of this is really just to give you guys more perspective on how the business works and what it's like for a new agent to get started, and just as important, to help you guys duplicate the same kind of success as much as possible. So you mentioned something about a lot of recruiting, a lot of multi-level marketing. Again, Tim, think of the agent that's new here. Kind of explain what you mean by that, and what your experience is, again, before you joined the For Insurance Group, because we're nothing like that, of course. Can you go into that a little bit more? Because agents may not necessarily understand how you mean by that.
So basically, when I joined in like 4 years ago, I know nothing about life insurance, right? And everything about the financial industry. Basically, what I basically find out is first is the way. I mean, I'm not saying there's different skills. Maybe I'm not successful on recruiting people and a lot, but I've seen a lot of people who have success on that, right?
Sure.
That's their path. But basically, I found out that's not for me, right? Because basically what happened is you have to recruit a lot of people in order to get a lot of sales and penetrate their market, right? So like what I said, I found out that it's not for me, and I made quite success, me and my wife. Actually, my wife is here right now. Thank you, baby, for coming in.
Hi, pal. How you doing?
Yes. So I have a few success, but not a lot, right? Because there's no system, and really the big part is the training, man. The training is is the ones that every new agent needs to figure out, needs to find out. The training is a must, man.
Yeah. And so for the sake of the new agents here, like, this is the reality of the life insurance business, especially less so on the PNC or the Medicare side, but there is a big underlying element of multi-level marketing culture that is deeply ingrained and embedded in most insurance agencies. And what that means is this: there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of people showing off their stuff, and there's a lot of pressure put on the average new agent to recruit anybody with a pulse. And yes, people do get success at the business, but at doing that, but it's a lot less than you think. And there's a lot more moving parts and I think risks associated with that than are actually spoken. So a lot of people get into this business because they want to help people and they want to sell. And what you'll find in a lot of multi-level marketing organizations is you get the exact opposite. You get training on how to find more people to recruit, not necessarily to sell, and then to repeat that process. And ultimately, the benefactor to all of this usually is the top of the food chain, not the guys and gals in the middle and the bottom that are working hard, that need to make money. It's usually better, almost always, to instead learn how to sell this stuff first, get good at it. And what you'll find is all sorts of people will want to jump in and work with you once you've actually proven the model and they see that you're writing a lot of business, you're successful, you've turned your life around. That's the best recruiting method, is results, right? But again, I say all this for everybody here's sake. It's very common in this business. So when you're looking for agencies, you need to ask yourself, are you really going to jump into the MLM side? Do you really want that? Do you want training and support to sell? You got to find an agency that meets that. So you moved on from that model, Tim, and then you got into business with us. You said that the training is really a big factor you're saying to your success. Can you kind of expand on that as far as what training means to you and how it helped you out?
Sure thing, man. Well, first things first, on the past, like what I said, I used to be on a different company, and the training is basically non-existent. Like I'll get trained for maybe 1 to 5 policies. Then after that, I might, I have to find my own way, right? But since I've been with your, with the DIG, what I found out is if you practice consistently on the script that you have, it's going to be a lot easier, right? If you follow the script, at first, obviously you're gonna, you're a little bit, uncomfortable. But as just like basketball, at first when you shoot hoops, you cannot shoot balls all the time. But as you keep practicing it, you will end up being good at it. There's no way that if you practice that script consistently for 100 times and you're not going to be a little bit decent, right? So that's what I did. I practiced with my kids. I got 3 kids. I talk to them, practice. I practice with my dog, until I feel like I'm a little bit comfortable. But then I have to push myself in order to go out and meet the new people. Now, what I found out is this, the insurance business, especially final expense, is really simple, right? It's not easy, but it's simple if you follow a certain system. So how did I make that 28,000 AP? I have my numbers here. I figure out that every time, my best week is the 4th week, last week.
Yeah.
No, 2 weeks ago, right? So I did 7,600, right? And I figure out the numbers. So figuring out your numbers is a must. So right here, I did 42 door knocks.
Okay.
So what it means is if I do 42 door knocks, I get around 7,000 AP. If I can just double that and do 84, then I'll get 1,500 AP, right? So there's a system in place. You can ask maybe a lot of seniors here. Like I talked to Joe Busolachi and a lot from David, and they will mentor you guys. So definitely a good place. You definitely need to know the number and the system, and then once you know the numbers, then you can just play with it.
Yes,
just work hard on it.
So let's hit on this a couple of things here too, because so the system, right? That's imperative. Then that's what's cool about this business is if you actually track your numbers, you know that basically for every, maybe for you, what every 4 or 5 or 6 door knocks, you're getting a sale. That's pretty cool, And so every door knock is worth something, right? So if every sale you make, let's say $500, and it takes you 5 door knocks to get a sale, well, even those door knocks you don't make any money on, they're worth $100 if you think about it. So by the 5th one, on average, you're banking the 500 because that's when the sale happens, right? That makes the door knocking process, which all of us are, weary of to some extent for sure, makes it a little bit easier because it's worth something. And then you got to ask yourself, is it worth knocking on that door for $100? Might be if you think about it the right way, right?
That's right.
And then the one thing I wanted to ask you too, a lot of people think, wait a minute, door knocking. So are we cold calling or are we working leads? Kind of explain that on what you do, Tim.
That's right. So I forget about that. So basically what I found out for me, because I did cold calling, cold door knocking back then. But what I found out is the leads are really important. So first things first, you gotta follow what we have on the classroom. I mean, if you're familiar on these trainings, go to the classroom and find the leads. Based on me, what I use is TTC leads. It's a Facebook leads, right?
Okay.
So I ordered at least every week. So I at least have 30 new names every week. And what we do is, what's the best thing in this business is you can have a teamwork with someone, right? Like me, example, my wife is the one who called all the leads. Once we get all the names on the leads, my wife will call them, set it up, and we practice on how to make phone calls, you know, and how to set up appointments. Then after she set it up, then I'm the ones who go to that place.
Right.
In between the appointments, if I don't have any appointment, I door knock them.
Right.
So that's basically my day and my week goes.
So you're calling, or your wife is calling these leads, and you're door knocking the leads in between those set appointments with your clients.
That is right.
Yeah. And you're working a Facebook lead, right? So
Facebook
there's
leads, yes.
different kind of leads out there. We talk a lot about direct mail. We talk a lot about Facebook, or a digital type of lead. Both work great. And the other thing of note here is you're a face-to-face agent. Now, I'm sure, are aware that there are agents who sell over the phone. A lot of people listening to this are probably interested in that. Can you kind of explain why you sell face-to-face as opposed to over the phone?
Okay, so this is what I told Joe, right? I told him that we are good on face-to-face because we are good looking.
There you go. Enough said.
I'm just kidding, all right? But I feel like, I mean, for me, I feel like I can build more rapport on the clients, right? It's easier for me to actually talk in person because I can see their body language. I can see at once if I have to head out or stay on making the sales, right? So that's one of the things that, you know, that I like within face-to-face. And basically I like interacting with people in person. Right.
Yeah. And look, there's success in both in the final expense space. And we have agents who are successful selling over the phone, never seeing a prospect ever. And then we have agents like Tim, where they're very successful in person. And it's not so much for those of you who are kind of thinking, well, what's right for me or what's best? There's no such thing as that. It's really what's best for you. And the things that you've got to ask yourself are things like, you know, do I feel comfortable selling over the phone? Some people just do better in front of people, right? They just connect better, more natural. I'm like that. I'm more naturally a in-person type of agent than I am over the phone agent. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't be successful necessarily at telesales. So it's all about finding where our niche is, right? And going all in that direction. But it's pretty cool, even in 2023, after COVID, after all the stuff that's happened, people still do the traditional approach and are very successful at it. Just going to see the people, showing up unannounced, right? Some of these door knocks, they don't expect you, still getting in the door and closing business. So the old-fashioned stuff, it is old-fashioned, but it works. It can work very well. So let's take a couple of questions in the chat here. So I'm going to go through the chat here. So if you got questions, do me a favor for Timothy. Anything that you want to ask him, throw them in the chat. We're going to kind of run through these questions here and see if we can help you guys out. So that $28,000 David asks, was that all final expense, or did you mix any other kind of business into it?
I think I have 2 IULs on that one.
Okay.
So the rest are final expense.
Right. Good.
So maybe like $4,000 or 4,000 are IULs.
Okay. So still, did that come from referrals? Did that come from the Facebook leads?
One of them is a referral. One of them is a referral from my client in Facebook.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So good. You're finding all sorts of business out there. That's awesome. Okay. Awesome. What was your cost to buy those leads approximately for the last 4.5, 5 weeks you've been writing business with us?
I haven't tracked it, but so far, if I remember right, I do at least like 700 a week. Okay. So 600 to 700 a week on TTC Facebook leads. But what I'm going to get into, and I already get into it, is the needle lead, the direct mail.
Right.
So I'm still green. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way that to tackle this, because I've talked to Brandon and he said that if you do a direct mail, like the houses that you can go with, it's like 3 minutes to 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
So that's going to save me a lot of driving.
Right.
That means if I can do an average of 10 knocks a day, I can do probably like 15 or 17. That's going to double my knocks a day, thus doubling my sales.
So, yeah, and you bring up such an important point. So, first of all, cost-wise, let's just call it $3,000 to be extra conservative. So, for a $3,000 investment for a $28,000 return is pretty good. Take out the, 2 of the 4, so maybe 26 final expense originated. That's really good. And everybody's numbers are different. Timothy's is exceptional. Some people are a little bit lower. One of the things we teach agents to think about is return on investment. That's really what's in your bank account after you pay for your leads is what really matters in this business. And a good rule of thumb is to be above 4 to 1. So if I put $5,000 into a lead system every month, and if I can get back $20,000 in commissions, this is before I deduct expenses, that's a good return. So my net income would be $15,000 before taxes. That is a good number. Some do way better than that, like Tim. Others do about that, maybe even a little lower is okay. I wouldn't be any lower than 3 to 1. But what's cool about this business is once you know your numbers, then you can scale them, kind of like what Tim is thinking was, how can I do, instead of 42 door knocks, 84, right? Or double my production, in other words, right? So that's what's nice about final expense. Medicare's like this too. It's just a numbers game on some level, and you just got to make sure you have enough leads to make the numbers happen. So that's great. Is there a lead generation script? So what we do, Sean, and feel free to further clarify here after I answer this. We have leads, of course, that were provided to the agents, or they generate the leads themselves or purchase them at the Ford Insurance Group. And there's a script to teach them how, obviously, to get in the door, or a script to teach them how to get into the door over the phone. We don't do a lot of self-generation of leads like cold calling or that kind of thing. It's most of the people have success in this business are doing very similarly what Timothy's done, which is purchase leads, right? And then go run those appointments or sell them over the phone, depending on where their strengths are. But if you want to follow up on that, let me know if I can clarify anything there. Right. It's old fashioned like the wheel. Yeah, the wheel still does work after all, just a few improvements, but the wheel's still the wheel, right? Does your call center use the SMS feature of VanillaSoft? Yes, we do. Hey, well, we do use that. You should too. All right. How many companies are you selling?
Well, what I found out, this differs from everyone, right? So the ones that works best for me is actually, I only have like at least 3 companies that I sell with, right? You gotta pick like the company that's going to give a level for your clients, which what I use is Prosperity, right? Because the e-app is really easy. You know, you don't have even to do a phone call interview for most of them, right? Then for my guaranteed issue is Great Western. Great Western is great. One of the best company. Why? If you're a starting new agent, when you close a policy on Great Western, you get paid within 2 days. Right. So guess what? You get paid, close a few policies, you get paid, and buy another leads, right? Buy a new set of leads that, that will save, a lot of money on the new agents. That's why my brother actually just got into the business, and he's about to start tomorrow doing this one too. All right. He closed his first sale 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, good.
So,
nice job. All right.
Yeah, he's pretty happy about that. But I only work with at least 3 carriers.
Right. Yeah.
And I have a couple in the back.
Yeah. And that's what we've recommended agents to start off with. If you're going to start in the final expense, what you don't want to do is get like 10 companies, because then you're going to feel obligated to know all the underwriting and all the nuances of using those carriers. And it becomes an obstacle to just getting started. I started the business with 3 carriers too. And then gradually over time, as Timothy will too, you'll pick up more for the niche situations where those 3 won't work. But the key thing in this business is to get started. You want to get training, you want to get support, but you don't want to get so bogged down by feeling responsibility to know everything before you go out there. There's this middle ground where you know enough to get started and you can help people, but you're also painfully aware that you don't know everything. There's somewhere in the middle there where you have to be before you have to take that leap of faith to get started. And then over time, you want to pick up more for sure. I think that's a good strategy. Okay. Let's see here. What company has guaranteed even with COPD? So a good company for face-to-face agents that will cover COPD first day full coverage would be Foresters. We like that. That's one of our carriers we like recommending to face-to-face agents. Also, Liberty Bankers Life will do that for telesales agents. So if you run into COPD, you can write it with Liberty Bankers Life. I think only if they don't smoke. If they do smoke, I don't think they take it. Alternatively, you can do Aetna. Now, I don't recommend Aetna personally for agents to write because they don't issue a decision right away. A lot of the times it gets referred to underwriting, and it's just really it's unreliable. And in the game of final expense, you need an instant decision, yay or nay, that first call 90% of the time. If you get half your business referred to underwriting, especially if you're selling over the phone, your clients go into the witness protection program after you hang up on them. They just disappear. They never pick up the phone again. Who knows, right? So you can't write a carrier consistently like Aetna because Aetna just half the time does an issue decision, right? So there's some ideas. You can always revert to guaranteed issue with those clients if for some reason those other carriers wouldn't work. So AIG for face-to-face or Great Western for face-to-face. And then for telesales, Great Western works well too. So we got those three companies out there. So what they're Great Western, Prosperity. What was the third one? GTL?
No, the third one is Trinity or Family Life Benefit.
Okay.
Or Liberty Bankers. Either of those two.
Yeah, right. So we have 3 to 5, but what you'll find is most agents do exactly what Timothy's doing here. They've got 3 core carriers, 90% plus of their businesses with, it's just keep it simple, Right. Commission depends, Rodney, depending on if you're getting leads for free. We have a free lead program called our career division. Agents get a lower commission than if they were to buy their own leads. If you want to check out the details on that, daviddufour.com/FAQ. Prosperity, Sean, Great Western, and then either Liberty Bankers Life or Trinity. Alejandro asks, Tim, to use FEX Toolkit, to quote.
Yes, those one are for me. All right, as a new agent, it's highly important, man. Like, investing on it. I think it's like $39 a month or maybe less. It's it's crucial because it's going to be, based on my experience, it's going to be hard for you to. We have the cheat sheet, which is pretty awesome, right? But it's going to be hard for you as a new agent to navigate it.
Right. So tell the audience real quick what is, and we call it FBX Toolkits or InsuranceToolkits.com. What is that for the audience who may not know?
Oh, okay. Sorry. So what is it about is if you plug in the health, credit card information, health conditions of a client, it's going to pop up like the companies that's actually going to give them a level death benefit or a guaranteed issue, right? So it helps well for underwriting.
Right.
So it's going to save you a lot of time.
Yeah. So it helps you underwrite. It grabs prices for you too. So especially useful in the beginning when you're learning these carriers. You plug all that information in, and here's your options for the carriers you got. It just makes the underwriting process real easy. And it's an excellent company to do business with. We recommend it. About $35 a month. If you put in DeFord or DeFord 15 at checkout, it'll knock off, I think, 10% or so of the price. And everybody here can do it. How does Haystack work? How do you use it? I don't think we use Haystack. It's a way to basically send an electronic business card, Frida, for telesales agents, really. Gotcha, Sean. Very good. Just applied for career agent. Thanks, Midi. Hopefully we can speak. Hamid, thank you. All right. WellCare. Are you strictly final expenses? You sell other products, right? You mentioned IULs. Do you do any other products besides that, Tim?
Yeah. I do IULs back then. Final expense is the main one. I do a couple of terms and whole life.
Right. But most of your business is final expense because you're working final expense leads.
That's right.
Great. So wrapping it up here, Tim, thank you so much for being here. If you could give us a couple of final tips based on your experience, what would you tell new agents they absolutely need to do if they want to have the best chances of success in the business?
There you go. First things first is work with your wife so you don't get any trouble. That's it. Wife is the best appointment setter. But
right.
Aside from that is really having a goals, right? You got to have a goals. Like, let's say, what is your goal this year? My goal is at least half a million, right? Half a million, and you have to know the math on in order for you to actually achieve it. So if you have a half a million or almost half a million, you have to do at least 40 to 50,000 a month. How are you going to do 40 to 50,000 a month? You have to do what? What is that? So
10 to 12,000 a week.
10 to 12,000 a week, right? How are you going to do 10 to 12,000 a week? Based on my numbers, I have to do at least 80 knocks, right? And what I do is, now that I figure out the number, all I have to focus is to win the day. So basically, I get up in the morning. You know, I'm not yet that expert on it. I'm still trying to build up my confidence level, right? My discipline level. But if I can do 10, if I focus on one thing and do 10 knocks, it doesn't matter if I don't get a sale today, because maybe tomorrow, if I do another 10, I'll get 3 sales or 2 sales, right? So all I'm saying is we have to focus and give at least 90% of our energy on those goals. Like, focus on 10 to 15 knocks a day, and you're going to see the result no matter what.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. It's what it comes down to, right? Is if you want the outputs, results, you got to have what? The inputs, which is the activity. And it's the activity comes first, and that's what gets you results. And if you know what activity you need to get, then generally speaking, over time, you know what percentage of the time you're going to get the results. And it's a beautiful thing, because now you have control over the system, right, of making money. And it's all about you putting the work in, right? That's what it comes down to. It's a hard work business. And for those people who get out there and make it happen consistently is typically who really is rewarded. So Tim, thanks for being here. Appreciate you, man. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day, and your wife too. Thank you for helping Tim out and being a good support. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day, Tim. Thank you very much. All right. That was Timothy Limbaugh. Appreciate him very much for being here.